What's good, Non Dreamers? My name is Julian Taliaferro, and I'm coming at y'all with the second monthly book analysis. And for this analysis session, I'm gonna go over the second clip of books that I read after that first eight. So I'm gonna be reviewing five books this episode instead of eight. I think five books is the sweet number. When we look at eight, that's probably too many books to go over in a session. But then, three is probably a little bit too little. So I think five is that perfect spot. So I'll go over these five now. But I also want to catch up to where I'm at currently. So I might be busting out a few of these analysis sessions in the near future and just give my takeaways, right? But for this episode, the overall topic or like theme through these five books is mindset and like business ideologies. And you guys will see how it kind of connects uh, in that overall topic or overall sense as I go through the books. But to first give the title of all five books, the first one is Zero to One by Peter Thiel and is also written by Blake Masters. The second one is Reverse Innovation by Vijay Govindarajan and Chris Trimble. The third one is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. The fourth one is The Strangest Secret by Nightingale. And then the fifth one is How to Succeed in Business Without Being White. And this is written by Earl Graves. So to start off, I want to begin with Zero to One. And this is the one that was written by Peter Thiel. And he's the founder or creator of PayPal, one of the founders, one of the creators. So this book mostly revolved around startups. The full title of the book is Zero to One Notes on Startups and How to Build the Future. So, to go through my takeaways on this book, the first one that I took from it is that you need a monopoly to go zero to one. So, if I have a startup idea or just any business idea, the only way that it will be successful in the long term is if it is a monopoly, right? If whatever product or service that I have takes over that market, right, that I'm looking at. So say I have a product, I need to monopolize that initial market, and then from there I can expand. So if I monopolize that small market, right, I'll already have proof of concept. I'll have a dedicated base of customers that will rock, with whatever product or service that I'm offering. But from there, if you're already successful in that market, then you can just focus on expansion. You can focus on acquiring new customers and maybe even expanding your brand bigger than what it is. But the beginning is just monopolizing that small target market and then try to monopolize as you get bigger and bigger, right? So you don't have any competition, right? That was the biggest thing that he was reiterating, is that you don't want any competition for your startup. So although that may make it hard to create an idea or develop an idea, that's the ultimate goal, right? Starting a business isn't easy, finding an idea isn't easy. So once you do find it, the idea has to be, so great, right, that you monopolize whatever market you touch. So he also stated that I took away from it is that you need engineering solutions to problems, and then you can kind of par that with like marketing, distribution, you know, aspects and things like that. But the beginning to everything is an engineering solution, right? If you have a problem, you need to look at it through an engineering lens. So for me, that was kind of nice for me to hear because I am an engineer, right? And I already look at things through an engineering lens. So, that was kind of bonus for me, but that's like a takeaway that I had. So if I look at a problem, I'm not going to look at it in a marketing sense or like, okay, how do I get more eyes on it? I will look at it more maybe analytically or logically and think about it in steps on how to figure out that problem. He also kind of stated when it comes to startups, startups are created by founders, right? So he was saying that your company needs inspiration, and that usually comes in the form of founders. Your company doesn't need dictatorship. Your company doesn't need people just giving directives, giving orders. You need to have somebody who can have vision and bring the best out of people. So, looking at it from my aspect, that means that I would want to be the type of leader to inspire. I want to be the type of leader to, you know, put energy into other people, right? To allow them to succeed, for me to have a vision, and then for them to catch on to this vision and then have their own passion for themselves for whatever this company may be, right? So that was cool to hear. But that also means that I'll need to improve, leadership skills and leadership traits and whatnot to allow me to actually, put energy into other people and inspire people. And also, um, you know, the last takeaway is just that the future can be bright if you make it. So if you have a dismal view on the world, if you believe that we've reached the peak of all advancement, then when you create your business, when you create whatever you create, you're going to have a cap on it. But if you believe that science, technology, businesses, companies have so much more room to grow, then that means that you're not going to see a cap. You're not going to see a ceiling to whatever you can create. So that's kind of more of a viewpoint thing, a mindset thing, that you have to think positive. You have to think that the future is bright with so many more creations, so many more ideas that can come to fruition, right? You just have to think of it. So that's Zero to One. I'll put the book back up, Zero to One by Peter Thiel. It was a good read, just an interesting one, right? If you're looking at startups, and even if not, you should still read it when it comes to your business. The second book that I want to talk about is Reverse Innovation. And this was from Vijay, Govindarajan, and Chris Trimble. I'm definitely butchering these names, but that's the best I can say. But Reverse Innovation, right? And this was basically the author saying that the key to having a successful business, or if you already have a business, right, that's existing, in order to be sustainable in the long term, you have to start looking at emerging economies. You have to start looking at what products can be successful in, say, India, Africa, China, areas that have less resources, and then create an idea off of those kind of constraints, right? And when you create a product that is already constrained with strict constraints due to the infrastructure and resources in these areas, then first it'll be able to be offered in those settings. You could offer it to India, offer it to Africa, and that's where these expanding populations are. But then what was interesting is that these same products that are created in emerging economies always find a way to come back to the developed world, right? And usually is looked at, because I feel like when it comes to these products that are developed in China, Africa, or whatever, had these constraints, the developed world are kind of late adopters, right? They come on late, but at the end of the day, if it works in these areas, it's going to work anywhere. And then you'll already have a product that can have profitability in the most stringent constraints. So it'll be even more effective or even profitable in the developed world, right? So that was the kind of thinking when it comes to reverse innovation, right? So not innovation in the sense of developing in the US and then coming out to Africa or India with a mindset that was developed in the US, but going to Africa, China, India, the Middle East, going to these areas and then coming back to the developed world and saying, okay, here is a better product that was developed with this mindset and it can apply here. Um, so it was kind of like a mindset switch, but also a business ideology switch as well. And it was just interesting to read because I never thought about it like that, but it makes a lot of sense once you kind of think about it. And also, it talked about how to specifically go about creating this switch in your business from like having clean slate innovation. So creating local growth teams in that country separate of the company, right? So they can have their own thoughts, practices in terms of being tapped into the local economy, being tapped into the local needs. And then from there, once they built a product, then they can expose it to the rest of the company and then maybe receive a little bit of influence from the rest of the company. But overall, the the aspect and the authentic product that was developed in these local growth teams will stay there, and then that product, like I said, will be able to come back to the developed world. So that's reverse innovation, and it allows a company to think more globally, right, and have access to the rest of the markets around the world. Um, and this is the book again, Reverse Innovation. Cool little book cover. The third book that I want to talk about is As a Man Thinketh. This was a really short book by James Allen, and really the main takeaway or the simple takeaway is just you are whatever you think, and that there's power in your thoughts, right? Basically, whatever you think will come true. If you think you're going to amount to nothing, then you're going to amount to nothing. If you think you're going to be great, then you're going to be great. It's that simple. And there's not really anything like other about that. That's just like a fact. You are what you think about, and your thoughts dictate your circumstances. And the entire book kind of reiterated that point through different examples and different ideas, but that was the overall idea. And just that you need to stay strong in your mind, right? Your mind is your your mind is the strongest thing that you have, right? Your brain is so powerful, so you don't want to use that power to a negative thing, right? Use that power to a positive thing. And then the rest of your body will follow. So once your mind is right, your spirit will follow, your success, your situation, your mind, your body, everything will fall in a line, and you'll become a aligned vessel along that mission of what your thoughts are thinking. So that's what that book is about. As a Man Thinketh. Like I said, really short book, but easy read. And I don't have that hand copy, but really good book to read. The fourth book is The Strangest Secret, and this is by Nightingale. I don't have his first name for some reason, but Nightingale. And in this book, this was another short one, but he was saying that the only way you'll be successful is if you have goals, right? And if you have goals, it allows you to work toward your purpose and work towards your meaning. But without goals, you're just kind of moving aimlessly throughout the world. You're moving aimlessly and not having any sort of, directive. And that's kind of dangerous, right? When you think life is meaningless. So if you think life is meaningless, at least assign a purpose to it so it's not anymore, and create a goal, have a goal so you have something to aspire to. So every day you're working at something, or your mind can always be, doing something. You're not just wasting time, you're not just living, but you're creating your life. So that's what that book was about. Another short one, The Strangest Secret by Nightingale. And just have goals, right? And from there, you'll ultimately be successful, because if you have the goals, you're gonna sooner or later attack them. You're gonna sooner or later achieve them. You're gonna sooner or later start that process to achieve them. So that's what that book is about. And the last book that I want to talk about is How to Succeed in Business Without Being White, right, by Earl Graves. So honestly, I never heard of Earl Graves until I read this book, but he was the creator of Black Enterprise, right? The big, African American magazine, which was crucial in our culture, and it was crucial to highlighting, you know, what Black people can offer, the accomplishments that we've undergone, and just so much. So, and also respecting the buying power of the Black community as well. So, looking at this book, a couple of my takeaways, honestly, it was just about, like, me as a Black man. I can never forget that I'm Black. I can never forsake who I am, where I came from, my history. I have to always remember that, and then give opportunities to other people of my color, right, to support, my people, right, to support my history, to support what I came from. So I can never forget that. That's something that I don't forget already, but it was just more reaffirmation to remember who I am and what I am, right? Also, the simple fact that you can succeed in business while being black, although you may face so many more hurdles, so many more obstacles. At the end of the day, if you're determined, right, and you're persistent, you will be successful. Although you may come across people who don't respect you because of your skin color, you have to show them and be patient that you can be respected and that you can do everything they can do and more, right? So honestly, it's that simple. There is no caveat to you not being successful. You can be, right, and you just have to fight for it. And although that's sad, that's the reality, right, and that's the life that we're living. Life isn't fair, right? That's the cards that have been dealt, but when you get these cards, you have to play them to the best of your ability, right? So that's being the best card player that you can be, right? And that means working for your status, for your position, and um, like I said, just that main theme though of being black, having my integrity, knowing my history, but then also putting other black people in position, right, was really big. And that there's so many African Americans out here doing big things, so many Africans out here doing big things, so many Caribbeans, black people in general doing big things, right? And it's not an anomaly when you see a successful black person, right? Although we may not be highlighted daily on, a big stage, we're everywhere, right? And we are here, right? So that's like my takeaways from these 5 books. And it was kind of just around like mindset and business ideologies. I hope you guys watching could have took something from, what I was talking about. I kind of feel like I was rambling a little bit through some of the books, but hopefully it was all value and you guys will maybe read some of these books on your own and develop your own takeaways from it. But that is the second monthly book analysis done. And all right, going to achieve your 9-on dream. And it's 9-on dream because you are going to achieve your dream. And it would be 100%, but nobody's perfect. So you're going to achieve 99% of that. And let's go and let's get it.